Surely you had some idea of what you were doing with her.
I don't even know what I'm going to talk about, so now I'm totally.
Oh, no. All right, we are coming in now.
Nah. You know the
Have a
morning
great
show
show.
we never ever.
What's that?
Okay.
Come with us on a journey into the unknown, the unexplained, and the unbelievable. We will test your senses and challenge your beliefs. A world where science and religion clash. Or do they? You will meet real people and hear real stories, but you will not believe. You will witness strange sights and hear strange sounds, but you will not believe. This is the New England Ghost Project. Welcome to the nightmare.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever you are. I am Ron Kolick, New England's own Van Helsing, and welcome to Ghost Chronicles. I am waiting for my co-host, who is blind, so I can't say anything, but she appears to be late. Anyways, today's show is brought to you by Circles of Wisdom, 386. No, it's actually, yeah, 386 Merrimack Street, Methuen, Massachusetts. The Gallant Messier Family Law Group, 55 High Street, North Andover, Massachusetts. And our very, very good friends on Ghost Chronicles Radio on Patreon. Become a member and help let us bring you the show, more of these wonderful shows. Anyways, while I'm waiting for Maureen to join us, I would like to start off by thanking everyone for going to that ghost hunt event at the Wilson Castle. If you have not gone to the Wilson Castle, then you should check that out. It's a great place. It's a huge old castle in Vermont. They do all these paranormal events just to raise money to restore the castle. And trust me, it needs a lot of work. So um, go check out Wilson Castle. I think it's on my Facebook page as well. And we'll get going on that. So, anyway, a couple of things I did want to mention out. And one of them was I posted something about a table tipping event that we were running in um, Circles of Wisdom on August 1st. And if you don't know what table tipping is, it's basically these little tables that you three people, four people to a table. They put their hands on it, and the table will move and give you answers, yes and no answers. And sometimes it can even spell things out. It's also known to dance around and do a bunch of other silly little things. But it's a fun event. It really is. But somebody took offense to it and told me that uh, people don't know what they're doing. Any of this stuff was evil, and and they were an expert because they had like 5,000 people on their uh, YouTube channel. So there you go. But hey, who am I to argue with someone with 5,000 people on their YouTube channel? I'm sure they're an expert at something. So earlier today on the show, we came up. We started looking at some sacred numbers and stuff like that on the morning show, and we came across this thing on the Seance Circle, and the Seance Circle is usually composed of 12 people, and it's believed that uh, 12 people, and I'm actually looking for the write up on it right now as I speak to you. Here it is. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so sitters in the Seance invariably are seated in a circle, either around the table or with open area in the center. Hence, the seance is often referred to as a circle. Spiritualist circle usually calls for a medium who is among the number. There can be any number of people in this sitting, but 12 is usually preferred. So I was trying to find out why 12 is preferred. So we looked through a whole bunch of things, and 12 is supposed to be a sacred number, and that's why it's believed. But there are a bunch of other sacred numbers too. You can listen to the morning show and hear the whole thing about it. But the circle is made up, if possible, of equal number of positive and negative energies. And according to Ray Buckland, who wrote this book, The Encyclopedia of Clairvoyance and Channeling and Self Communication, Buckland is a big spiritualist. He said, this is his words, not mine. Although most females are sensitive and negative, that's his words, and most males are positive and magnetic, there are exceptions, of course, but energies do not necessarily indicate all genders. Some circles are arranged with negative energy on one side and the medium, and then the positive energy on the other side. Circles are also arranged with negative energy and positively energy alternating. So this is kind of weird. So you kind of like, first of all, he's saying that female have negative energy, and I was trying to figure out, is that true? What is negative energy? What the hell does he really mean by negative energy? And males is positive energy, and I don't know if that, because females are supposedly more sensitive than males, even though there are a great number of male mediums, is it has something to do with that. In other words, the sensitivity allows a lot of negativity to be drawn in. Are there more? Not really sure. And where men are like positive, like whatever, and so they don't have that same instance. I don't know. I'd like to hear your thoughts about it. If you have any, you can certainly message me on this show or whatever. But it's certainly interesting. So let me know if what you think. Is there more females more negative energy than males? Males have more positive energy than females? Let me know what you think. You can email me at anegosproject@comcast.net or message me on Facebook and let me know what your thoughts are, and I will bring up your comments next week. So moving on from that, I also like to talk about, I saw today in a post on Facebook that's Expedition X, and I believe that's Josh Gates' film, is doing a thing on the Bridgewater Triangle. And so I don't know if you do know, I think most people who listen to the show do know that in most of the works, the Bridgewater Triangle, whatever it is, a film or it's a TV series, there's always a clip of Maureen and myself in the movie. Of course, we never get credit for it, but that's besides the point. And that's usually the one where the Pukwudgie, this mythical creature, takes over Maureen, and of course, I challenge it. So, hey, there she is, anyways. Thank God. Let her in now, please. So, Maureen, unmute yourself, and we can.
I am here. Sorry, lost power.
Yeah.
But I made it in. So
you did, and I was just talking about you too. Oddly enough.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. My ears were burning.
Yeah, it's so funny because just like the first show we did 21 years ago, you were late.
Oh. Yep, you're right. I was,
Of course, that was on a Friday, and so you had that excuse. But anyways, yeah, I was talking about there's a new Josh Expedition X is doing a new show or a re-show on the Bridgewater Triangle, and I said there's no doubt, and undoubtedly there'll be a clip of you and I in it. Of course, we will never ever get credit in it.
Oh, but, absolutely not. And right. I don't know if I want to see it, Ron.
Well, I have to tell you a funny story. On the morning show, I had Chris Balzano, who you know, right?
I do, yep.
Yeah, Chris Balzano, who actually filmed that. him and Andrew Lake, I believe, were the two people that uh, that whole thing came about because he was writing a book, Picture Yourself Ghost Hunting, and he wanted the group doing an outdoor investigation, and he asked us to do it. We went to the Freetown State Forest, and we went in there, and yada yada yada. Lots of things happened, and one of the things, of course, that you channeled or Pakoji was on you one way or the other, and
Yes.
of course, we tackle you to the ground, and we drive the poor little bugger out, and it's all over the place. But I have to tell you the funny story about it is that when
What?
I had Chris on the show, is that Chris used to be an English teacher in Lawrence,
Yeah.
and he would actually bribe the students. If you finish your assignments, I'll play the clip of Maureen and Ron.
No way.
Yeah, and and all they used to have this little catchphrase where some of the kids would go, Maureen, Maureen.
Oh no. That's crazy. Well, you remember what happened with me and Steve, right? My husband.
Yep.
Okay. So I remember doing readings at my house, and there was something about it at one point. They didn't use my name in the clip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
And then they edited it and they changed it. So you said to me, "Don't worry, if he ever sees it, your name won't be in it anyway, right?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, what happened is one night he's watching television in our living room when I was in Andover, and I was in the kitchen with some friends. I had just done some readings. And then all of a sudden I hear, "Oh my God." And I'm like, "What?" I walked in the living room. He said, "Really, Maureen? I just saw that clip of the Bridgewater Triangle. You told me your name was never used." He said, "That's not true. But now everybody knows." I'm like, "Oh." I said, "Well, not everybody's watching this channel, so don't worry about it." So
It's funny because we had what's his name? Couture, Aaron Couture, I think that's how you say it. Whatever, it's a French name. How the hell do I know? Even though, anyways, yeah, I had him on the show, and he was talking about that, and I bitched once again, and I said, well, you didn't even ask our permission, and you didn't use our names in it, blah blah blah. So he got all defensive in it. So maybe they added that in later. I don't know. It's because he was harassed them about it. But
yeah, so they must have, because they basically, the whole thing. Maureen Wood from Massachusetts, something like that. I'm like, "Oh, great."
Mhm.
And it's fine, but you know me, you know, it's one thing doing it, it's another thing seeing yourself doing it,
Mhm.
and it's just always raises the hairs on the back of my
Oh,
neck.
I know, because when we wrote our books, where we wanted to make them as accurate as possible, we would go through the video and the audio and stuff, and you hated that,
Absolutely.
which I thought was funny, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, and I will say, I know that some people still probably think that I, fake everything, but
Mhm.
I guarantee you I don't. And if it really was that I wanted all this attention, I would love watching that stuff. I don't.
Mm.
So let's just put that out there for those who might be interested. That's all.
That's the thing is people who don't want to believe, they like change their minds and try to rationalize things away. We had the producer, remember the one we won the Emmy on, what was that,
Oh, yes.
American Builder, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, we had the producer on the show, and he gave us information. We talked about a lot of things that happened to him while
Mm.
they were editing the film and in the studio and all this other stuff that was coming on, and he was like really kind of shook with it. Well, we followed him up years later, and his response to it was like, "Well, I saw what was going on. It's like I understand now. Maureen was taking cues from Ron." It's like,
Though, but even, do you remember? Yeah, even when he said he was working on it in the studio,
yep,
he was having, people were freaking out, lights
yep,
were out, issues were happening in the studio when they were doing
yep.
it. And when we had the two people from, was it
Jimmy,
Brian?
Jimmy and Brian Gurry.
Yeah, right. So they were, remember where they were on the radio? They came on, we interviewed them on WCCM after the
Mhm.
whole event.
Yeah,
And then while we're talking to them and they're saying, oh yeah, I don't know if we believe or whatever, all of a sudden it literally sounded like the like Lou had played with the soundboard and made the sound of a foghorn,
Yep.
like you would hear out in the ocean on from the lighthouse.
Mm-hmm.
And nope, we didn't do anything. We didn't do any sound effects. That actually took place while we were talking to them. So they were like, oh, cool sound effects. No, we
It
didn't,
wasn't.
we didn't do it.
I had a laptop. I opened the show. I was waiting for you to come in, and it's like, I'm trying to pick up some subjects to do because I had planned one thing speaking with you, and then when you get in and show up, so I'm kind of like doing that. So I'm trying to talk, and do search for the same time. And it was just like the first show. The first show I had never done. I've done radio interviews before, which are totally different. But it was the first time where I was the interviewer, and it was like, oh wow, this is and I'm like same way. I was like all choppy and everything else. But it's funny. But as long as you're on the show, everything's just running smooth as normal. So it's so weird though how you do that. It's like, oh man, what's going on? I was just trying to figure out how to do an hour by myself. So that would have been fun.
Well, I messaged you earlier because I do you remember how many times we even talked about it a little, I think, the last show when we were on together, right? And it was basically the fact that, when you had, for instance, your EMF meter went missing and then showed back up again, right?
Yeah.
So the
What's
reason
that called? It's called transportation or something like that.
Yeah. And I try to figure it out, honestly, because my earring, when we were at the lighthouse, remember my earring went missing. It's actually in the book, right? Then it's, I don't know, weeks or a month or so later, the earring shows up, get up one morning and, there's the earring sitting on top of my jewelry box. And
it went missing in Biddeford Pool and shows up in Andover.
Exactly. And what happened was of course, it was a anniversary gift and they were like very expensive little filigree silver earrings. So, hubby wasn't too thrilled that I wore them when we went out investigating. And then I lost one, but I said, don't worry, I'll hang on to it. Now, it was only him and I that were in the house, right? Because the kids were off to college. So it was only he's like, why bother keeping it? And I said, you never know, maybe they'll find it and they'll mail it to me. Right. So I put it out there to our friends at Biddeford Pool spiritually and said, hey guys, if you can bring back that earring, I'd truly appreciate it. Right. And it was funny because I used to teach class that at the medical company where I would teach class and I had to use like my watch so I could time how long it took them to do whatever, lab they were doing. And for 3 days in a row, I'd wake up and I'd go to pick up my watch and the battery was dead. I'm like, what is going on? So replace the battery on my way to work, did it 3 times in a row. And then on the 4th day, I wake up and my earring is sitting on top of the jewelry box. So that tells me that obviously they're trying to get energy, right? To try to help them to, however you would call it, portation or whatever, to move that object.
Yeah. But the thing is, can that, I don't know. It's like, I always think of the movie Ghost, and to me, that I think is such a accurate portrayal of what the afterlife is kind of like to me, not just to me. That's my own beliefs. And I'm not pushing on anyone. And one of the things that I always thought about was the Ghost in the Cemetery, where Patrick Swayze learns to move objects when he doesn't know. When he first dies, he can't do that. So it's something that he has to learn. And I think that happens in a lot of cases where perhaps the spirits have to learn particular
skill
sets, right, to interact in this realm. I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm just saying that they have to learn it because, one minute you walk into the earth, the next minute you're like, poof, here I am. Where the hell am I? Right?
So you got to learn how to manipulate the energy around us, right? Right. I mean, and yeah, they could learn maybe from someone else, like in Patrick Swayze's situation. But if I'm sitting there thinking one day, because of all these things that have happened with us, right? I had a client reach out to me the other day and she sends me a picture because, her and her fiance live in the house by themselves. Her mom has passed. I've done readings for her before. And she goes, Maureen, is it possible that my mother left this dime? Like, she takes a picture. She goes, it's not like it was on the floor. It's not like it was anywhere else. She said, I had been at my, makeup table the night before, and there was no dimes anywhere because I was sat there putting my makeup on. And then I get up in the morning and I go over, and he was still in bed. She goes, I get up and go over to my makeup stand, and right where I would, pick up one of her things, she says, there's a dime sitting right in front of it.
Hmm.
So I'm like, well, you know what? Why wouldn't it? And she goes, and I was adamant. And I asked him, why are you putting money? Like, why'd you leave a dime on? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I didn't do that. And it was only two of them living there. So she's like, is it possible? I said, absolutely. So I told her, I'm like, we'll have a conversation about this. So anyway, she's like, well, do you think if I ask her to move it, she'll remove it? I'm like, you can try. Like, you can ask. Now, is that a different skill set? Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But that also brings you another question too: is that really did a spirit put that dime there, or a spirit bring your earrings, or my EMF meter, or did I just manifest it, or you manifested, or she manifested? In other words, that something that perhaps we did
It, it
unconsciously?
I mean, anything's entirely possible, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much, obviously, it's the unknown. So we're kind of trying to figure this out. And honestly, ever since I've been a kid, it's like it seems to be a little bit more like you get a little bit piece of that puzzle, right?
Mm-hmm.
That shows up, but I don't believe we get the whole piece. Like, I don't believe that we'll ever learn the whole puzzle or understand the whole puzzle, and maybe until it's our turn to go on the other side. And maybe even then, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, we even look at EVPs now. EVPs is, for those who don't know, electronic voice phenomena is when the spirit changes the white noise on a recorder and puts their own voice on it and says something on it. Uh, Even the thought on that is that, or the theory on it is that, is it possible that we are actually manifesting those words ourselves? And we all have a tendency to do that, to answer questions. If we ask a question of spirit, we already have a thought in our head. It's pretty much like table tipping or anything else. If you're asking the spirit, the spirit, you get this thought in your head. Is it a spirit talking to you, or is it just something that you are manifesting, or is it a combination of the both? Both.
Well, I mean, it's possible, but I mean, then, that actually, you know, not so much digresses, but brings to another subject. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're reading for clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some people will say, well, I mean, you may be reading off the client. Okay, maybe. But how about when that client's not aware of the information, let's say, until they go home or and research it, and then
Wow, break already.
ding, ding.
Yeah. Pizza from the dead is here, so we actually have to take a break, believe it or not. So, yeah, you should be late more often.
Oh, thanks.
Anyways, yeah, so, uh, yeah, it's very possible. We'll talk about this more when we get back. Anyways, you're listening to Ghost Chronicles. It was now in its 21st year. 21 years ago, last February, we started on the air on a Friday the 13th, and now this is our 21st year. So we are brought to you by Circles of Wisdom, 386 Merrimack Street, Methuen, Massachusetts. And speaking about Circles of Wisdom, check out the cool events that we have coming up. August 1st, I'm doing table tipping events. I think it's pretty well filled up, but you can check it out with them. And then on the end of the month, we have a psychometry, and then October 3rd, we have photo scrying. So we have three neat events coming up. And then I believe on Halloween, we have another costume table tipping. So that'll be kind of a Halloween night table tipping. So that'll be fun. But anyways, check that out. Go to their website, circlesofwisdom.com. We're brought to you by Circles of Wisdom, 386 Merrimack Street, Methuen, Massachusetts, the Glant Messier Family Law Group, 55 High Street, North Andover, Massachusetts. Our very good friends on Ghost Chronicles Radio on Patreon. Become a member and have access to exclusive crap. And also Positively Brilliant Reiki infused Used Candles by my good friend Leslie Martin on Etsy, whatever, how the hell you say, ETSCY. Check
See.
it out. Positively brilliant. We'll be back after the following messages.
Do you have a paranormal event, book, or something else you want people to know about? Then why not advertise it on Ghost Chronicles Radio? With over 150,000 downloads a month, get your message out to an audience that's interested in the subject. We have a plan at a cost that fits your needs. For more information, contact Ron Kolick at anyghostproject@comcast.net or call 978-455-6678.
Located in Illinois, there lies a sleepy little town where nothing is a common occurrence.
You going to that party in town tonight?
Heck yeah! I only turned 18 once.
That is until the night of celebration.
Where the hell is she? Oh no. No, 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 Jessica!
What's happening?
From the creators of Shadowhunters, Bite Me, comes a tale of primal terror and grindcore mayhem. Shadowhunters, kill, Jessica, kill!
Are you reading me? Come in. Hello? Greetings from the Shadow, and welcome to Shadowzine. My name is Jeff Belanger. I'm an author, podcaster, and explorer of the unexplained. For 30 years, I've been investigating the paranormal, UFOs, monsters, and things that bump in the night. Lately, you may have noticed how major TV networks and even social media networks have been pushing our favorite subject back into the shadows. I say good. That's why I launched Shadowzine, a monthly underground publication that covers your favorite topics in depth by some of the leading writers and researchers out there. If you're looking for 30-second TikTok clips, go somewhere else. If you're ready for a deeper dive, put down your phone and pick up Shadowzine. You can't find it in stores. This is old school print. Head to shadowzine.com and be part of the underground revolution. That's shadowzine.com, and I'll see you in the shadow.
We're back. That's all you get. Ron, you're muted.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. Anyways, yes, welcome back. That's all I get. See, if you had talked longer, I would have figured it out. But
Yeah, well, I don't know all the names of everything, or you do so good at it. I'm kind of.
yeah.
You'll have to send me a script. How's that? I'll do it next time.
Yeah. Anyways, our early show with we had. Oh no! In the beginning of the show, I was talking about the Seance Circle, and it was composed usually of 12 people, which I found interesting. Of 12, it was a total of 6 men and 6 women usually, and they usually either alternate men, woman, or they put like all men on one side and all women on the other side.
Okay.
And one of the things they said that women are sensitive and negative, and men are positive. And I forget what they call them. Oh, here it is right here. Let's see. Men are blah 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 blah. Men are what the hell are they? The negative. Come on. Females are sensitive and negative. Most males are positive and magnetic. So, what's your thoughts on that?
I think it's BS.
Wow.
Well, you asked me.
Why?
Well, because I mean, I believe you can't just go by, the sex of the person. Because when you're doing, for instance, we're talking energetic wise, when you're
Yeah.
actually working with people, and I'm teaching dowsing classes, right?
Mhm.
Everybody has a unique, let's say, way, right? Like the way that their energy works, we're all bio individuals. So I don't really believe that there's just like one sex is a certain one. And I think that to me is more closed minded, if you will.
Well, that's used as a generalization. That he
Yeah.
admits that it's not, etched in stone. But do you? Let's go away from the sexes, but use this negative and positive. Uh, I can understand that because it's the yin and the yang, and so that would make sense. It would create balance. Do you believe in that?
I believe that there's a balance in everything. And I believe, yes, there's yin and yang. I just don't believe that you could have a woman who has more, let's say, male energy, and it could switch off depending on the day. Like, I don't believe that it's necessarily stays the same continuously. When let's
I don't
just
think
say,
you have an energetic signature.
yeah, well, everybody has an energetic signature when, for instance, if I'm doing a reading, I could not read for someone for 3 years or 4 years or whatever it might be. And I get that person to sit down. And as soon as I feel that energy, I know, okay, I feel it's your mom's coming in or your uncle or whoever it might
Right,
be.
exactly.
And I get that. But I also feel that we're not just simple human beings like that. I feel that our energy can
But are
shift
we?
and evolve, right? And
But are we
change.
just energetic beings? I mean, our bodies are nothing but a
Yeah.
sack of water, and so I mean, it's
Cycles of the moon,
consciousness.
times of the
Cycle
year.
of the moon. That's a lot of crock, by the way.
No, it's really not. Because
It is.
no way. Do you know that? All right. So growing up, my mother took in many, many, many foster children, right?
Yep, yep, yep.
And well, no, and I've learned a lot by having so many different personalities and individuals that are not related to me come through my life, right?
Okay.
And there was actually, I'll never forget, I was babysitting or watching this one girl who had come into our house, and she was maybe, I don't know, she was about 8 years old. So it's not like she followed the moon cycles and she didn't, whatever. Well, I have to tell you that she used to drive me crazy if I was babysitting her, because she literally would like lose it when it was coming to a full moon. She would be
Oh.
outside yelling and screaming, and she was seriously out of control. And you can actually, my daughter, as you know, is a police officer.
Hmm.
She will vouch to say that there are more, let's say, issues during the height of the moon,
Scientific
like full moon.
statistics prove that that's a fallacy.
Nah,
No. Wait a minute. What do you mean? No, you can't. It's
I lived it with the girl, so I saw her
Yeah, you lived
reaction.
it. Your little piece of the world that had that experience. But what about the times there were full moon and she didn't do that? You just don't remember. Or what about
I
every
would tell you, she was in our house for over a year, and we went through that constantly.
it's
Maybe once or twice she didn't, but other than that, she did. So she had been there for, like I said, over a year, and it was not an easy time when it got to be a full moon. So I get that you can't just like that. That might be a unique situation, right?
but that also might have been you telling her to like, oh Jesus, full moon, she's out of control again. And then she hears that, and then everything she thinks of the full moon, she's thinking subconsciously, oh yeah, it must be that. It's like so.
Yeah, but we never said anything. We always wanted to find out
Mhm.
if it would ever stop.
Okay.
because she, and it could be just for her, could have been a mental, like a imbalance in her brain,
Mhm.
which is very possible. But all I'm saying is that I just don't anymore. I don't just rule out that there's, hey, this male person and they have this type of energy and that's kind of it. And then it's a female and this is the energy. I don't believe in that. But,
I know, but
I'm
that's
open
the
to
problem.
things.
It's like, we it's this problem with ghost hunting in general, and also with mediums, is that uh we chose the information we want to believe, and that's whether consciously or subconsciously we do. So,
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
if you go into the what do you call it? The emergency room on when it's a full moon, they'll say, "Oh, on a full moon, we're going to have this." So, you know, perhaps that once again we talked about manifestation. Maybe that's what it's about as well. That it's almost us making it happen. And the thing is that maybe how many nights that you had it and you never had any problems, but you overlook those because you have one and you have a terrible night. You say, "Oh, it must be the full moon." It's like Mercury in retrograde. Mercury gets blamed for everything, but
Well, think about it though, Ron. My belief coming into this world for everybody is
Mhm.
that the reason that we're here is to kind of create our experiences, right? Is to give us an
Is
opportunity.
it really to create our experience, or is it really um, to experience? For instance, if you believe in comedic things, so if you were like a son of a bitch, if you were like rich and you were mean and everything else, then you may come back dirt poor and have terrible things happen to you. So if you believe in the comedic experience, that's that thing. You're here to learn. Okay, you had the money, you had the chance of the opportunity, but you effed it up. So
Yeah,
now
but that's a
you are being
choice.
taught
I believe
this
that's
thing.
also a choice. So, for instance, you have a choice. So, yeah, I believe there's reincarnation, but I believe when you come in from the other, like, so let's say you do die and you go on the other side
Mhm.
and, you kind of have to face the music, so to
Yeah.
speak, right? I
Mhm.
get that. Okay, you face the music. So, hey, Maureen, what are you going to do about it? Like, you are, you know what, right? You hurt people, you did XYZ. Great. What are you going to do? Well, okay, I guess I'll go back and I'll do it again and I'll experience it so I'll know what it feels like. Okay, fine. But again, that's a choice, right?
Is it
What
a choice?
happens to me if
Or
I
is it
don't?
something that is it a choice, or is it something that's automatically given to you? In other words,
Well,
if you believe in reincarnation, which I don't, that you're whoever it is, the greater power is instigated. Okay, soul, you're not ready to go into the next karmatic whatever level or whatever it is. You're going back until you get it right, and then they throw you out there again, and then you're poor and you don't have much, but you give what, even though you don't have much, you give. And you'll notice that a lot of poor people don't have much to give, and they're the biggest givers over
right.
things. So maybe it's that connection where okay, you're beginning to prove yourself now that you can move up karmatically into the next level of whatever, of happiness or whatever the hell it is.
Well, and and that's very possible. But I also feel like when we die, I truly, the more and more that I speak with spirit on the other side, and the
Mhm,
more information I'm given and shown, it feels to me that it's literally like watching a YouTube video when you're the star, right?
mhm.
So you get to watch your whole life and the words you said, the things you did or didn't do, and the effects it had on everybody else. So to me, you're judging, you're judging more yourself than being judged. It's like hey, sit here, Maureen, and look at exactly how your life was, and you tell me how you did, you
But
know?
I've learned that living. I haven't had to die to learn that.
No, but I'm saying you get to see that. And I will say that all right, so I'm not giving any names, but
Okay.
I just won't do it. But I did do a reading for someone one time, and it was most bizarre because, and things do happen to me. Things do happen for a reason, right?
Mhm,
So, not necessarily, I don't believe so much in coincidence. I believe that a lot of times we're chess pieces moved around in people's lives for a reason, right?
okay.
And so, this woman was coming to me for a reading. She was going to be bringing her girlfriend, right? At the last minute, something happened. Her girlfriend couldn't come. So her non-believing fiance came with her, right? Well, when they sat down in front of me, the interesting thing is like the look on her face was priceless, because his family was coming through crazily from the other side. And it was all apologetic, because literally his father and his grandfather were kind of like mafia people. Okay. And they were trying to pull him into the family business, and he refused to do it. So they chastised him. They made him feel like he was worthless because he wasn't man enough to be able to do what they were doing. Right.
Mhm.
They were all his, and I never said that to anybody, like, oh my God, like that's what it made me feel like. And they're apologizing for what they did to you when they were trying to make you feel like you're a baby, you're this, you're that. And he just looked at me, he goes, I got to tell you, I never believed in this, but my father and my grandfather did that constantly. In fact, to their deathbed, that's what they were doing.
Hmm.
So, but the point is, like, she's looking at me like, oh my God, like he wasn't even going to be here. And then after they were done with him and he kind of was able to find peace, then her son came through for her. So it was just very interesting. So I do believe that when we go on the other side, that we get to see the bird's eye view. I mean, think about it. When you have a bad day or you say something or things happen, you don't always see the ramifications, right? You don't always see the domino effect of what you say or
Oh,
do.
you don't see what you do. Yeah, how many times that you in your life that you look if you look back at it and you say, "Oh my God, did I do that?" Or "Oh wow, I can't believe I did."
Yeah,
It's just
if you
that
were lucky enough to recognize it, but how many people
you should
pay that
reflect
much
on your
attention?
past, but not. The interesting thing is when I look at my past, I look at it as the past. Okay, I did that. I don't feel bad. I don't feel anything really other than I did that. That was, that wasn't what I was, that wasn't cool or whatever it was. But I never like wish I had done this, or wish I had did that. It's just, okay, that was the past. It's now, it's the future that you really have
Right, that
control of. You can't
matters.
control the past. The past is already gone. Yes,
Right,
it's thing. It's so
absolutely.
so that's what it's so you that's what you're saying when you die. They run through that, but you don't have to wait to die to deal with that. You can deal with it now, but
No,
the
but you
problem is
do. But
when people deal with it, they end up with this guilt feeling or with this,
no,
sorrow or I wish I had type of fun. You have to like let it go. The past. You can't change it. No
no,
matter
the
what you
past
do.
you can't change. But when you realize on the other side things that you could have done, or, I don't know how many times I've had people that, it was not so much even that the parents or grandparents did something wrong. They just were not emotional, loving people
Yeah.
to their
Yeah.
family, right? To their
Hmm.
kids. And sometimes they come through and say, I really did love you. I just should have said it more.
Hmm.
So a lot of times it's more about like things that they would like to say that they didn't get to say while they were alive, you
That
know?
makes sense in a lot of ways. Yes, it does.
So, and it brings the person that's sitting there, I think, a lot of times I had one woman I read a couple of weeks ago for this lady, and the poor woman was terrified, right? She's terrified to come in and have a reading. I'm like, I'm not going to bite your head off. And,
Well, wait
but
till it
when,
spins around though. That's spitting out
no,
pieces. Then you'll be in
but
trouble.
I gotta say, when we were done the reading, she goes, "Oh my God, I feel so much lighter." Well, I mean, that's what you hope for, right? If nothing
Yeah,
else, that you're helping them, like, not to let go of this guilt. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Good therapist does the same thing. No offense.
Not really, not always. Do you know how many therapists I read
Oh,
for?
ooh, what?
Ron, do you
What?
know how many psychologists and therapists that I actually do readings for?
Oh, it's got nothing to do with it. That's their own personal life. There's a difference
No, but what
between
I'm saying
professional and
is
personal.
they send some people to me. I
Okay.
have some psychologists or psychiatrists that when they'll have someone, let's say they know they're empathic or what they're doing is not really helping someone,
Hmm.
they know, then they're trying, and I give them credit for looking at other alternatives.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've run across some as well that have that same thing that they feel the same way you do, where they are open more uh, more sensitive to the spiritual world than uh, you think they would be as a psychologist, as a strictly an analytical person. But yeah, you're absolutely right. But that's because we are also individuals and also humans. So we're not perfect. Which I mean, it's the same way with the priests in the church. I mean, they had their whatever there was. That was the human side of it, not the professional
Right.
side, but the human side. And that's in so many other professions as well, where there it's almost a dichotomy where there's you're one way and then you professionally you're like this, but the next one you're a total mess, or you're totally different. You have the different beliefs, and
Well, I personally think that it shows me the times, that we're in, let's say,
Mhm,
because I mean, when I was growing up, even when it came to talking to, let's say, people wanting to talk to psychologists, it was even taboo, right? Like,
mhm.
oh no, you're gonna go talk to somebody, right? Like,
That's true. Yeah,
it's horrible, and it's like,
it's like
well,
going to a
it's not.
maniac.
Right? It's like, it's not. It's a way to let things out and to try to find a way to heal, right? But
Hmm.
you would never have someone that, at least in my, back then, we never talked about, I didn't tell people until, let's say in my teens, when they asked that I was seeing spirit or that I
Hmm.
was communicating, because, they want to put you in a rubber room, right? Back then. They really did. I was brought to a doctor when I was 11 years old. My
Wait a minute, I
father,
thought you were fifth generation. They should be used to it.
well, my mother was, but my father wasn't.
Oh, so it was
So
the old man that did it.
he was, well, yeah, he was scared for me. So
Oh,
he made my mother take me to a my mother kept saying, she's fine, it's in the
just give her
family,
some
she's
holy water;
fine.
she'll be fine.
Exactly. She did. She went to church. She got me holy water. And my father, but you know what happened? You know how we talk about spirits stick up for me, right? Like
Yep.
when we
Oh yeah,
went to
I've seen that.
you've seen that, right?
Yeah.
So that night, I'll never forget. The doctor was like, I don't understand what's going on, right? So he gives my mother Dilaudid, which is really strong for a 12
Oh
year old to
yeah,
have,
yeah, yeah.
right? Well, my mother, everybody's out of the house. My mother is home, and our house was very haunted at the time, right? Across the street
Mhm.
from the cemetery. But, I don't believe they're from there, but they just, I don't know, they were visiting all the time. Gas jets would turn on in my house, beds would vibrate, doors would open and close all the time. So my mother gives me a pill and says, go lay down. I'm like, okay. So I'm laying on the couch. I go to sleep, don't wake up till the next day. Okay. She
Mhm.
was going to go take a shower. Now she's so upset at me the next day, she wouldn't talk to me. I'm like, I don't know what I did. She's
Mhm.
like, well, you kidding me? So she had taken a butter knife when she went to go in the shower. Before she got in the shower, she took a butter knife and she slid it in the door jamb so that the handle was like on the door. Because keep in mind, it's an old house, right? In the frame, so that the door couldn't open while she was in the shower. Well, when she came out of the shower, there were two butter knives in the door. So, so she thought that I actually got up and put the second knife there to scare her. And I'm like, Ma, I was unconscious because you gave me Dilaudid. And I said, something's not right. Like, I feel like that they keep coming to me for this. So she's like, okay, I'm not giving you this anymore. So because they often, as you said, you've seen it. They stick up for me. Like the time that I bent over. Remember when we were in the Wyndham restaurant
Mhm.
and we're upstairs and we had the reporters there, and was it Brian Bates?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we were talking, and
Coffee machine.
and the coffee machine went off. But like right before I felt his energy, I bent over, and then the coffee machine behind us turned on and started with the coffee.
Yeah, but that was yeah. You bent over, but then you heard not heard, but mentally heard
Heard him.
Brian Bates saying this is a bunch of crap.
Exactly. This is
Yeah,
a bunch of crap.
and then the
So,
coffee machine turned on and scared the
yeah.
crap out of him. He came running out of there. Yeah.
And the temperature, remember, and the temperature always, every time we go out, would be 66.6. No
Mhm.
matter how hot it was, like with the camera lights and everything going on, it would go to, just to mess with us, it would go to 66.6 quite often.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, weird stuff, but interesting stuff for sure. So I don't know what we were talking about since we would totally went
I
down
know we went off subject numerous
subject.
times.
I think originally we were talking about teleportation and how the spirits did that to it. But
That's a good question. Let me ask you. You're the man of science. So how do you think scientifically it's pulled off?
if it's a real thing, then which I know in at least 3 cases that happened to me, that there could be several reasons. It could be, and this could be very much up your alley as well, which is almost a quantum jumping kind of thing, where the or even a time slip where the thing goes into another dimension or another
Mm-hmm.
thing and then comes back in. So that's a possible thing, but I that's just
You
I
know,
I can't explain it, to be quite frankly. Scientifically,
well,
it can't be explained.
well, you know where my brain goes? It does quantum jump with that. But then I also think, so we're always told how solid everything is, right? That all the
Mhm.
atoms in, let's say, a table are moving so slowly that it's dense, where in like everything is solid, right? And theoretically, if you were speeding everything up, like speeding up all the atoms, I don't even know if I'm using the right terminology. Tech, theoretically, you could put your hand through the table, right?
So
That's it's kind of what I
yeah,
hear,
yeah,
what I've
yeah.
heard.
If quantum, yes, yeah,
Quantum science, right?
yeah.
Quantum, I don't know.
But
Well,
also in quantum physics, the
quantum physics,
two
thank you.
particles in exist in at the same time, so in two different locations. So that's another thing.
That's another thing. But let's say that they're able. So if I truly believe, I used to think that heaven was somewhere else. I believe heaven is actually here, but it's a different vibration, a different frequency.
Could be.
So if you're raising that frequency and you're able, why wouldn't you be able to move the objects? If you raise the frequency or the vibration of that object, then you can move it.
Yeah, but this why is the question.
Well, because they can.
That's a real good solid answer, because they can.
Well, no, they're, think about it. Maybe we're not supposed to get all the bits and pieces given to us, but
Mhm.
occasionally some things slip through.
Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, like I said, I've had you mentioned the EMF meter, which was a one that disappeared and then reappeared in the same spot, which is intriguing. But I've had other instances too, as well, and they're really difficult to explain. And I know we only got a couple of minutes left, so I guess I can't even go into it. But anyway, yeah, it's things that disappear and then reappear. I mean, that's one of the signs of a haunted house. But is it a sign of a haunted house, or is it a sign of forgetfulness? Because you say, "Where's my keys? I put them here on the counter," and then they show up somewhere else.
Yeah, but look at us at the Houghton
Yeah, I
Mansion
know.
when
I'm not. I'm
when the
taking away.
sword disappeared.
Yeah, I know. I'm taking the just the thing.
Devil's advocate.
No, just a general topic, not specifics. We have our own specific instances.
Right.
So anyway, we do have to go. So.
Oh man.
Well, be on time next time. Then we're gonna have more time.
Okay, I will. All right. Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's all right. It was fun to. Yeah, it sucked.
Sorry. I'm telling. Well, we're up in Maine. I can't
I
help
know.
it
We
sometimes.
gotta go, anyways. You're listening to Ghost. You've been listening to Ghost Chronicles, the original Ghost Chronicles with Maureen Wood. Now in its 21st year. Right here on TogiNet Radio, brought to you by Circles of Wisdom, 386 Merrimack Street, Methuen, Massachusetts, and Galant, Messier Family Log, 55 High Street, North Andover, Massachusetts, and our very good friends on Ghost Chronicles Radio on Patreon. Thank you, everyone, and go to
Thank you.
circlesofwisdom.com, check out their workshops and stuff. So, Maureen, anything quick? Where
All
can I
right.
find you? Where can
All
I
right.
find you?
Oh, maureen-wood.com. It's an easy one.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night. God bless.
From ghoulies to ghosties, long-leggedy beasties, and things that go bump.